Offering SEO to local businesses has been the bread and butter of my business since 2018. And I truly believe that selling websites and SEO to local businesses has got to be the easiest way to make money as a freelancer, especially if you're in the early years of your career. Now, just a few months ago, I posted a video just like this one, except that video was talking about selling websites to local businesses. And since I posted that, it's gotten over 130,000 views. And in the comments of that video, people have confirmed that this stuff works, and I can definitely vouch for that as well. Okay, so there are 3 phases to selling SEO to local businesses: knowing what to sell, knowing how to sell it, and then knowing how to deliver it. Now, in order to be able to go into detail on each of these phases, we're actually going to break this into 2 separate videos. So part 1, which is this video, we'll talk about knowing what to sell and how to sell it. And then in part 2, I'll show you everything you need to do to actually deliver the work or do the SEO. So let's dive into it. Phase 1 is knowing what to sell. You can't just go out there to these local businesses and say that you're selling SEO as a general service, because that's what everyone else is doing. It's not appealing to those prospects, and it's going to be really difficult to quantify and set expectations. So instead, you should have very specific SEO packages with very specific deliverables and specific pricing. Otherwise, you'll either end up not making any money when all is said and done, or you won't get good results for your clients. So here in just a moment, I'm going to show you the packages that I think you should use to get started. But first, I want to share 2 quick tips with you. The first is now is as good of time as there has ever been to sell SEO. And the biggest reason for that is people know what SEO is, or at the very least, they know that it's important. When I started doing this 5 or 6 years ago, I would run into a lot of business owners that had never heard of SEO or didn't think it was important or didn't think that they needed it. But now it's a pretty general consensus that SEO is important. Google rankings are critical for a local business. And so most people that you talk to are at least going to agree with you on that. They're going to know that it's a need that they have, and then you just need to figure out how to fill that need. Now, the second tip that I would share with you is you shouldn't be selling or guaranteeing results, at least not at first. So promising your clients that if they hire you, they're going to rank #1 on Google is going to be risky, mainly because you're just getting started and you're not as good as you're going to be down the road. So for right now, instead of focusing on guaranteed results, you want to focus on a proven process and guaranteed deliverables every single month. This way you don't put unneeded pressure on yourself to give them those guaranteed rankings, especially considering that at the end of the day, rankings are up to Google. So all you can do is appeal to Google as best as possible and then hope that they get those #1 rankings. So as you gain experience and get better, maybe at some point you'll be confident enough to guarantee results. But for right now, let's just focus on these packages, the deliverables, and going through a proven process that you know is going to work. Also, one more quick tip. People are probably going to want to see some type of proof or a case study. So I would recommend ranking at least 1 site before you go selling this to prospects. And the most effective thing for you to do here would be to rank your own agency site. So optimize your own site and rank it locally, and this will be the perfect case study, and it will be a great way for you to land new clients. So this pricing chart is a Webflow clonable that I'll link to down in the description. This is something that you can clone, copy, and then use in your sales calls. This is the exact page that I'm showing all of my prospects on a Zoom call and then outlining for them each of the different plans and what's included. So keep in mind that these prices might change depending on your area. You might need to charge a little bit less, or you might need to charge a lot more. But this is going to be a great place to start. I would say this is industry standard for the deliverables that are outlined in this chart. Now, when I say deliverables, really what I'm talking about are the actual things that you are going to be giving them every single month. So a few examples of deliverables are monthly blog articles, monthly backlinks, local citations. Those are the things that they're going to be able to see. And we'll talk more about each of these in part 2. The other thing that you'll want to note is these are based on a minimum of a 6-month agreement. And I would even recommend going longer than that if you can. Getting these clients locked in for a longer period of time is going to buy you more time to get them results. You don't want to offer SEO at a month-to-month basis, because most of the time by month 2 or month 3, they're not going to see any results and they're going to get antsy and they're going to cancel. But if you can get them to stick around for 6, 9, 12 months, That's going to give you enough time to show results, and then they're going to want to keep you around for longer. Now, I don't want to go into further detail about these other deliverables and what happens in each of these packages because we will go over this in part 2. But the most important thing to note is you should have your packages laid out like this, and then you can calculate your expenses and your margins, because the goal is hopefully most of this you'll be able to outsource so it gets done right and so it doesn't use up too much of your time. So again, I would recommend that you click the link down below. This is a free Webflow clonable, and once you download this, you're going to be able to adjust it and edit it according to your prices and what you're going to offer, and this is what you can show your clients on every sales call. All right, so now that we know what it is that you're selling, we need to talk about how you're going to sell it. And the first step to doing this is identifying what type of prospect you have, because this is going to determine how you approach them, how you talk to them, and how you sell to them. So the 3 types of prospects are, number 1, the prospects that understand the importance of SEO and they're already doing it to some degree, whether they're doing it themselves, whether they already have an agency, or maybe their nephew is doing their SEO. But these are great prospects because they already understand the need for it. They already have set aside a budget for it, and so you're just going to have to sell to that need. The other thing that you'll want to figure out with these types of prospects is whether or not what they're doing is actually working. So do a little research, run an audit on their website, check their traffic, see if they actually have good rankings, and then once you do that research, you're going to be able to identify things they might not be doing so well and some additional opportunities where you could bring more value than whoever it is that's currently doing their SEO. The next type of prospect are those that understand what SEO is. They agree that it's important, but for whatever reason, they're not doing anything with it. So with these types of prospects, you need to figure out why they're not doing any SEO, whether it's lack of understanding, whether they're just overwhelmed with all the other marketing efforts, maybe they feel like they don't have the budget, or maybe they had a bad experience with a past SEO agency, and so they fired them and haven't done anything since. These are all really common scenarios, and once you understand their specific reason for not doing SEO, you can then tailor your sales approach to that. So many times these types of clients just want to be heard and understood, and then if you can solve a few of those small objections, they're going to be willing to hire you. And finally, the third type of prospect are those prospects that either don't know what SEO is or they have no idea the importance. And this is rare, like I mentioned before, but these types of prospects can be a lot more difficult to sell. That doesn't mean that it's impossible, but in the sales process, you're not only going to have to sell them on hiring you, but you're going to have to sell them on the importance of the service that you're offering. And so it adds a whole extra layer that you have to break through before they're going to be willing to give you any money for SEO. All right, so now that you know how to identify each of these types of prospects, let's talk about a few practical ways that you can get their attention, hook them, and then get them to hire you. So the first way that I would recommend is just upselling your website clients. So if you have a website client that you've just wrapped up their project and published their site, now is a perfect time to upsell them on an SEO package. Or even better, you could work SEO into the website package where they pay for it all at once, or they can break the payment of their website down and pay it as they pay SEO. This means they're more likely to stick with you for the long term because they're paying for SEO and the website that you already built. Now, this is assuming that you have website clients. So if you don't, some of these other strategies might be better for you. The next strategy would be offering free site audits. This is something that pretty much every SEO tool can do. So you can run a quick audit and then you can share the results with your prospects. You can either reach out in a cold email or a cold call, or you can do this for companies that you already interact with. Maybe they're businesses that you frequent locally, and you can just show up and say, hey, I ran a quick SEO audit on your website, and I had a few ideas. Would you mind if I shared them with you? This is a great way to come to the table, adding a little value rather than just asking them to hire you. The next strategy would be targeting businesses that have bad Google reviews or no Google reviews. These types of businesses could benefit from your work, and you could easily help these get some quick wins by helping them generate some reviews and optimizing their Google business profile. Or in other words, just making them show up on the maps more often. The next thing you could do is offer them a free trial. I don't recommend this typically, but if you feel like they are a great prospect, you could offer a 1-month trial where you set up their Google preferred profile. Maybe you do some basic reputation management and review generation, or you do a little bit of SEO work to show them what it's like to work with you. Any way that you can bring immediate value is going to get them to trust you and make them want to work with you for the long term. And the final strategy that I'll mention is ranking your own website. And once you have traffic and can generate leads, then you reach out to the prospects and you sell them those leads. In this instance, you're doing all of the work before you reach out to the prospects. But if you can build that website that has rankings, that's a great asset that you would be able to sell to any different prospect. And it's going to be much easier for you to approach a random business if you already show them that you have rankings and can give them leads. Now, I want to tell you right now that with your first SEO clients, you're going to feel like an imposter. This is normal anytime that we start something new, especially if we're selling it as a service. So in part 2 of this series, I'm going to break down every single step of the delivery process. So at the end of that video, you're going to know exactly what to do to actually execute the SEO. This is going to be a proven process that you can follow so that you can feel confident and honest selling SEO to your clients, because you know that if you just follow the steps, you're going to get results for those clients. So if you would like me to put out part 2, just comment part 2 down below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.